It is Wednesday, April 18th, and we are here. We're a minute earlier. We're a minute earlier than we should be, leaning in. 15 months ago, what started as a dream is now the fastest growing political party in this country's history. 1 year, 3 months. Last January, when we launched, there were some who laughed at us. This was a two-party country, no room for a third. You will split the votes. Now, 15 months later, many are speaking about the reality of the PEP as the power to upset any electoral prediction. 46 weekly meetings, 16 public meetings, countless management meetings, millions of words written, thousands of hours of live video. Here we are, on the cusp of a real people's revolution. An orange army of one people under one flag. With just about 15 more months to an election, predictions call for exponential growth. What will we be by the time the election bell is rung? The opposition treats all things PEP with panic, has declared war on the party, its leaders and its members, have sent agents to attempt to damage the party, has bought, paid and bribed others to attack us and engage us, only to see each and every one of those attempts fail, the attackers crumble in a wasted heap. The government pilfers PEP policy to pass as their own, fractured and itself at war. Misstep, miscommunication and mistakes are the order and flavor of their everyday. They too know, with each failure, the Progressive Empowerment Party grows stronger. They're lucidly aware of a real opponent, alternative, choice, outside of the racist, tribal, accusatory, lesser evil, change, exchange, bacchanal and noise. They too hear us coming and are doing their best to stand in the face of a people set on fire with hope for real change. This is where we stand, 15 months in. The battles have been joined. Your PEP is here, present and ready. We the people, united under one flag, await the clarion call. A better nation beckons, and we, her loyal subjects, stand ready in her defense. Let's begin. Share the video. Wake them up. One people under one flag. Share it up, share it get inside one time. Yeah, we'll call them out, man, call them out. We'll start here helping entrepreneurs or unfair business practices. Now I want to tell you this, when I see the attempts being made to fool Trinidadians by these 1%ers and take advantage of them and keep them downtrodden, keep them as labor and consumers, I tell you something, we have to get to a time and a place where we free our people, and the first step to freeing our people is to inform, educate and empower them. Kiss Baking Company. We have been calling on Kiss Baking Company for years to do the right thing. Now we are going one step further, helping entrepreneurs or unfair business practices. Imagine your business with all the expenses that comes with it to make it a success. Now imagine someone selling the same thing you sell on the pavement outside of your business with none of the expenses that you have, undercutting you for price and driving you out of business. That is what Kiss Baking Company, masquerading as Quelo Baking Company and using some daily paid hustlers who have no full employment and no recourse in case of accident or injury incurred while selling bread and pastries to moving vehicular traffic, are doing every day. It's a con job, pretending that daily paid hustlers are entrepreneurs and using their desperation and need of a job to drive genuine entrepreneurs out of business in what can only be an attempt to control the market through subterfuge and underhanded means. If Kiss Quelo really wanted to support and help these same small people, they would set them up properly in business and not put them at risk for $1. At the very least, employ them fully, give them access to healthcare and insurance, as well as security for cash sales. One get killed a couple months ago. What we are trying to find out is if along the way, Kiss Baking Company also broke the law, because that would be a different issue. From today, we will start sending letters to all regional and city corporations to find out which, if any, gave Kiss Baking Company and or Quelo Baking Industries and or any of their agents licenses to vend on the side of the nation's roads, highways and otherwise public thoroughfares as outlined in the Municipal Corporations Act 21 of 1990. If no such licenses exist, then Kiss Baking Company should be fined the maximum fine allowable under the law for each and every location, simply because they should have known better. To those who ask, what about all the other vendors? We say it is time to regulate all, to safeguard both those vending and their customers. But to pretend that every doubles and nuts man taking a hustle, knowingly breaking the law, is the same as a multi-million-dollar conglomerate that calls itself the largest wholesale baking company in the Caribbean, engaging in underhanded trade practices to drive competition out of business, is to play smart with foolishness. We need a better nation for all, and it is time we started giving our attention and our voices to getting us there. We are requesting multiples of investigations in multiples of jurisdictions into the activities of Kiss Baking Company, and will keep the nation informed and updated as such information comes to hand. I asked someone to tag Kiss because I looked tonight and I found that the definition of an entrepreneur is a person who sets up a business or businesses taking on financial risks in the hope of profit. That is the definition of every one of those small bakeries that are being assaulted while Kiss stand up on a pavement with no rent and no lights and no employees to pay, selling a $5 bag of hops. That's what's going on. And it is time we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, saw things for what they are and not for what people would have us believe. You do not take a man and put him at risk to life and limb, selling bread on the side of the road, open to the weather, into vehicular traffic, breaking the law, and call that assisting entrepreneurs. Kiss Baking Company, miss me with your bullshit. You have decided in your boardroom to plan, to conspire, to shut every real entrepreneur bakery down by undercutting them, by selling in front of their establishments and stealing their customers. You should be ashamed of yourselves. All of you who are part and parcel of that should be ashamed of yourself. Entrepreneurship is the activity of setting up a business or businesses, taking on financial risks in the hope of profit. Kiss Baking Company. We are sending to the Chief Executive Officer of every regional corporation and every city corporation in Trinidad and Tobago the following letter, dated 18th April 2018, to the Chief Executive Officer of the various regional corporations. Dear Sir, Madam, subject, request for information on the lawfulness of Kiss Baking Company, Quailo Baking Industries Limited, or their agents to conduct roadside sales of either or both of those companies' products. Reference is made to the above captioned subject. It has been brought to our attention by affected citizens that Kiss and or Quailo Baking Companies and their agents and or vendors are conducting roadside sales in various locations throughout your municipality to the detriment of law-abiding businesses in the community. Guided by the Municipal Corporations Act 21 of 1990 and more specifically subsections 210, 212 and 219, we are kindly requesting an investigation or clarification as to whether the Kiss and or Quailo Baking Company Limited have been granted permission to conduct said businesses sales on the public streets, roads, highways, sidewalks, egresses, pathways, roadsides, and other public use and regional corporation control areas and locations throughout the municipality. Should you require any further information, please contact the undersigned. That is going to the Chief Executive Officers of Arima Municipal Corporation in Hollis Avenue, Arima, Princestown Regional Corporation, Tazmul Hossain Building, High Street, Princestown, Mayaro Rio Claro Municipal Corporation, High Street, Rio Claro, San Fernando City Corporation, Harris Promenade, San Fernando, Sawa Lavantel Municipal Corporation, MTS Plaza, Aranguez, Siparia Municipal Corporation, High Street, Siparia, Tunapuna Piaco Municipal Corporation, Centenary Street, Tunapuna, Port of Spain Corporation, City Hall, 224 Knox Street, Port of Spain, Sangre Grande Municipal Corporation, Ramdas Street, Sangre Grande, Diego Martin Municipal Corporation Administration Building, 17 to 18, Diego Martin Main Road, Diego Martin, Cuba Tabaki Talparo Municipal Corporation, Railway Road, Cuba, Point Fortin Borough Corporation, 26 to 30, George Road, Mahaika, Point Fortin, Pinal Debe Regional Corporation, 218 SS Erin Road, Debe, Chaguanas Municipal Corporation, Cumberbatch Street in Chaguanas. The purpose of this is not to drive those day-paid workers who are selling bread on the side of the road out of business. That is not the intention, but they too are victims here. Because if a car run over them and he dead on the side of the road, family have nothing to get. When he eventually succumbs to all of that carbon monoxide poisoning that he or she is taking 5, 6, 8 hours a day, every single day, standing because they put them where there is traffic. They don't put them on empty streets. They put them where there is most likely to be the greatest concentration of slow-moving vehicles, immersing them in constant carbon monoxide poisoning. So when they get emphysema or chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, they have no insurance, they have no job security, they have no recourse or claim to Kiss, Quailo, or any of the names and versions and aliases masquerading as whatever is responsible for putting these hustlers on the side of the road. And Kiss Baking Company, a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce and the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, all of you supposed to know better. And it is time Trinidad and Tobago start demanding more from those who have benefited the most from this nation. What we call the 1%, putting you all on notice now. because there are other issues that we have to deal with, and we're going to deal with those issues, one people standing together, because if we don't, we are going to lose our country, and that is not a chance that we should be prepared to take. We should not be ready as a people to sit idly by, engage ourselves in foolish banter, while others plunder and pillage this nation. It is time to stand up and stand together as one people, united, race, color, creed, or class, together for a better nation. We can do it. It is time. Don't forget to share the video. If you just arrived, first step, share it with friends. Let them know we're here.
So the girls are removed and they say that we set us behind. So to the foreign countries, we start migrating. They lose faith in the country that they was born down the drain. They say no more, could we see happy times again. But the military come in and people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talking nonsense, but the majority of the decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we great progression. For the country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it ain't one little thing that I want you always to remember. We could make it till we cry, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter.
Somebody sent me a word called an omnishambles. The word of the day was shared by Rudy Curry. Thank you, Rudy Curry. The word of the day is omnishambles. And an omnishambles is a situation, especially in politics, in which poor judgment results in disorder or chaos with potentially disastrous consequences. That they wrote that for us. Nothing works. Nothing works in Trinidad and Tobago. I want to ask, and I am going to ask a question. There are some businesses in Trinidad and Tobago that have been able to grow exponentially. And any middle class business person, anybody who's tried to get into any business at all, that ever went and sat with multiples of banks and finance companies and credit unions to access financing to grow your business, know the difficulty with which it takes to get any kind of credit. Yet there have been businesses in this country that open a branch a month for 10 years and spend millions and tens of millions of dollars. Now, if it is an uneven play field, we have a problem. And the purpose of government, the function of government, the reason for government is the well-being of all the citizenry, and that includes our business people. Our business people are entitled to a level play field. You cannot get into a business where you open one chicken and chip store and the next man able to access finance to open 1 million, drive you out of business. You see, the battle is for control of the country, and the best way to control a country is to control the economy. There are people playing a game. You control the races, I will control the dollars, and together we will control them all. Foreign exchange is another issue. I am looking at businesses that are not engaged in any sort of export whatsoever, that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars of business that requires foreign exchange to stock their shelves, and I don't know where they're getting the foreign exchange from. Because when I go into the bank to ask for foreign exchange, is an argument and a fight and a pulling teeth to get 100 US and a 200 US. I stood up in Scotiabank yesterday and I'm listening to this woman at the teller next to me, trying to explain to the teller on the other side of this counter that she is here, not asking for a favor. She's just here trying to access foreign currency because her daughter is at school away and that she needs to give her daughter money to pay her rent and to buy her food. Now, how it is that this woman, who is doing all of the right things, who is trying to build a better next generation, making all of the sacrifice for her child, how it is that she cannot access essential foreign exchange for the education of her child, but there are businesses importing hundreds of millions of dollars of automobiles every month. How is that happening? Where is that foreign exchange coming from? And is this a two-tiered society? Is it that who know who could get through? Because if that is the case, we have a problem. The well-being of the entire citizenry is the function, purpose, and reason of government. It is not to say, I am government and who I want to help, I will help, and the rest are all your salt. That is breaking the law. And we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we, the collective mass, need to understand that it is time to stop the navel gazing. It is time to stop the knuckle dragging. It is time to stop the parroting of foolish talk and to focus on what is really critically important to all of our survival. Home ownership, affordable food, health care, education, security. All of those things that are important to all of us that are absent from the society. We live in a nation of pure, mismanaged, bungling, corrupt madness. We get out of our houses if we survive the night to enter into traffic because the country is mismanaged deliberately, because government after government using shock doctrine wants to frustrate you with traffic so that you will tolerate them taking essential treasury funds, or worse, putting your grandchildren in further debt to borrow hundreds of billions of dollars to build rapid rails and train systems that we do not need. We do not need them. You cannot make a decision on the mass transit needs of this country until you right-size the country. You don't put a train where a train is not needed. Port of Spain has ceased to serve the purpose Port of Spain used to serve. It is time to take all of the government offices out of Port of Spain, put them in the center of the island. We have a lot of land going a begging. And if we put them into the center of the island, they would be in equal reach from all corners of Trinidad. And that will prevent the traffic caused by the 250,000 people that drive into and out of Port of Spain every day to work in those offices. If you're coming from Arima, if you're coming from Cedros, if you're coming from Point Fortin, if you're coming from Chaguanas, if you're coming from Port of Spain, you should be going in a direction, not everybody trying to pile onto the same one part of the island. So if we move all of those government offices out of Port of Spain, all the traffic done. If we zone the schools and make all schools prestige schools, all schools functional 10-year schools, and all schools answerable, and all children entitled to a proper first world education, if we zone the schools, because all of you know when school is closed, we have no traffic. So if you move the government offices out of Port of Spain, and if you zone the schools, we will only have situational traffic. But a lot of this will be dried up by this, just by doing these two things. We need to move the port of Port of Spain out of Port of Spain. It is no longer necessary for all the goods and services to come to Port of Spain when 90% of them head east and south. We need to put the port in Point Lisas. It needs to become the port of Point Lisas. That's what we need, 5 times the size, so that we can manage shipping for the region and make some real good money. But that's another conversation. But also by putting our port in Point Fortin in a facility, in Point Lisas, in a facility 5 times the size it was in Port of Spain now. And if you want to know the size of the port stretches from Hyatt to Movietown. That's the port. We want something 5 times that size in Point Lisas, so we can scan and unstuff all containers we are searching for contraband, guns, drugs, human trafficking. We want to end all of that. We propose the construction of a maritime security wall 3 miles out at sea that will stop and search all marine craft trying to enter Trinidad and Tobago, be it the largest container ship in the world or the smallest fisherman on a pirogue. We will stop and search them all so that we could stop the free flow of guns, drugs, and human trafficking. We have an estimated between 150 to 300, if not more, thousand illegals in Trinidad and Tobago. That is an untenable situation. People ask, where's our compassion for the people of Venezuela? Let's help the people of Venezuela. In Venezuela, they're not that far from us. They're not that far from us. And we could give the people in Venezuela support. There are other countries around Venezuela too, plenty bigger than us, plenty more powerful. Brazil is a first world superpower. Brazil could absorb Venezuela. Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, all of these countries could assist Venezuela. The burden is not just ours. And if we're not careful, the influx of Venezuelans will damage our country, possibly permanently. We are already reeling under the influx of small islanders under the PNM to hand them Commonwealth passports and ID cards so they could get a free vote in a HDC house. So that's all they're interested in. Power for power's sake, so they could thief all the money and hand it to their finances and they could share it up when they reach Miami and London. But you and I, we don't benefit from that, and this is in nobody's best interest. 15 years from now, when all of them are gone, the debt and the mess for all of this, when those chickens come home to roost, our children will be saddled with the madness, and it will be worse. It's time to fix it. Fix it. Building a maritime security wall and moving the port will generate massive employment for the first 2 years of a progressive empowerment party government. Moving the offices out of Port of Spain and building them in a purpose-built government campus in the center of Ireland will generate massive employment. Those three things alone will sop up all of the idle labor that's been left due to the mismanagement of the last two governments and put all of our people to work while we diversify the economy. So by the time those construction projects are done and we have more people looking for work, we would have created real and sustainable jobs for them. That's the just push play plan. A progressive empowerment party entering government on the run. We have already identified industries that are willing to come to Trinidad and Tobago and set up here outside of the energy belt. We've been subject to the vicissitudes and the vagaries of the energy sector for too long. Trinidad and Tobago need to do like Dubai and Saudi Arabia, and let the energy sector come for no more than 20% of the economy. So if that dip, it dip. The king of Saudi Arabia said oil could reach $1. He don't care. He don't care. Farming, tourism, shipbuilding, shipping turnaround, cruise ship tourism, yachting industry, those things will create sustainable jobs and employment for the masses of our people and end the boom and bust cycle of the energy sector. We need to do that. They knew that they were supposed to do that since the 80s, but Petrotrin is the tip of the slavery spear. As long as you have everybody dependent on the energy sector, THA in Tobago is a microcosm of what they did in Trinidad and Tobago, utilizing National Gas Company and Petrotrin, and they've enslaved us all. And they've made all of our businesses dependent on, and all of our people dependent on that energy sector, but to our peril. Because if you're not wealthy and you cannot survive a recession, you will lose, and those who have money will pick off your possessions like vultures. It happened in the 80s when Sabga, who was sitting on some millions, was able to buy up the McEnany Alston's group and became Ansa McAl. But all those things that you call Sabga, Guardian newspaper, Carib Brewery, Trinidad Match Factory, Carib Glassworks, all those car companies, Ford, Mitsubishi, none of that Sabga did. Sabga bought up an up and running company. Understand? And that's what this fake recession is allowing others to do, because this is not a real recession. It cannot be. You cannot still be in a recession 2.5 years into a new government and they've done nothing to diversify the economy. That is insanity. Nowhere else in the world would that have been tolerated but here. Because here we play this game. Calm, yeah, but Hawaii. So we do that bullshit and them up on top there laughing all the way to the bank. Hawaii don't hate Calm don't hate Hawaii. Hawaii got his $10 million signing bonus just to leave FCB and join UNC. You got your 10 million? No. And that's the truth. So what do we do? What do we do? Do we continue to allow business as usual, where the masses of the people are downtrodden and enslaved and taken advantage of, while a small handful up on the top eat everything in sight? Do we allow that to continue, or do we say enough? Do we say we want to elect a government of the people, by the people, and for the people? You have elected between the PNM and UNC, government of the people, by the people, 41%. It has never benefited you. Go and ask Calco. Go and ask TN Ramnath and company. Go and ask all of those who benefit repeatedly from the PNM and the UNC exchange, because regardless of who in office, the same eaters eating, you know. Same eaters eating. They find a pistol by you, you're in trouble. They find a container of automatic rifles and sex toys in Hafiz Karama's house, and I was okay. This is a country where a surgeon in a private hospital opened a gentleman who was a drug mule, removed the drugs, sew him back up the fella, hand him his drugs, and he was on his way. They catch you with a 5-piece, you're in trouble. And you have to ask yourself, how is this double standard of a country acceptable to you, who is an heir of this to this country? You are a beneficial stakeholder. You have a share of Trinidad and Tobago by your birth, by your citizenship. You are entitled to your share and you don't get it. Other people get your share. You get to talk bullshit. You get to talk nigger coolie politics. You get to argue PNM UNC foolishness. You get to fight bacchanal and noise sent on the ground for you and the opposite number of you to fool yourselves, clawing each other, gouging each other's eyes out, pulling each other's hair, fighting on Facebook, cussing and blocking one another, while those on top quietly eating and thieving. And you have to ask yourself, if this is still good enough. The entire world economy in 2017 grew 3.5%. Trinidad contracted. We're in a recession. The entire world economy is growing still. We are still contracting. We are still in a recession. The government, realizing that the people are not fools, had to admit that because the price of oil has increased and it has sustained the price for over 6 months, the government had to admit that we're getting more money for our oil than they budgeted for. But they're not changing their plans about coming to take tax out of your property. Because what they want is for you to not be able to pay for your property. That's what they want. They want you to not be able to pay for your property so they can seize it for small money, and you have to understand. And that is not acceptable. And the problem in Trinidad and Tobago is false pride. This false pride that keeps us from saying to one another, boy, this thing killing me. I can't deal. They have me under pressure. It breaking me. I can't feed my children. I can't make my mortgage payments. My landlord calling me. I think I'm losing my job. My wife don't get a half cut in salary. They cut her hours in half. We in trouble. We don't say those things. And if we were all telling one another of our collective condition under any of these governments, we wouldn't stand for it. Because we're sensible enough to know that this is not how you run a country. If I tell you that there are 100,000 pleasure craft in the Caribbean right now that pay $1,000 a month, $1 billion US is spent every month in the Caribbean housing pleasure craft by people who don't use it. That's $1 billion US solid dollars every month. $12 billion US every year. And it costs those people and Lloyd's of London very hefty premiums, because every couple of years a hurricane passes through one of those islands and destroys all of those boats. And Lloyd's of London and those people who own those boats would like to be able to put it somewhere like Trinidad and Tobago that's outside of the hurricane belt. We're still in the Caribbean, but no hurricane coming to mash up your boat. That billion US a year, you stack boats like plywood. You ever see how you build a boat storing facility? They're literally stacked going up to the sky. We could have all of those boats in Trinidad right now, and because they're here, spawn downstream industries like boat maintenance and boat manufacture, fixing hull, fixing engine, fixing upholstery, rigging sails, all of that. All of these people that can't find job could become artisans and craftsmen and engineers. All of a sudden, you don't all have to stand up and wait for OJT, CPEP, URP handout job. You get a real sustainable job. Because a lot of our people are very, very talented. And when they get their hands on hope and opportunity, rise to the occasion. And people from all over the world will come and seek us out to have work done on their boats. And they will store them here safe. It will save them premiums. Lloyd's of London will set up an office here and give us free doubles every morning just for the fact that we're saving them billions of dollars. And that's the truth. And they're making a joke. But that's the truth. We'll be saving them money, and that's just that. Dubai. When we look at Dubai, Dubai built islands. Dubai multiplied its land size by 1,000% by building islands in the sea, by sucking sand from under the ocean and assembling it into islands itself. It accelerated Mother Nature's work. Dubai did that. It's the equivalent of if Trinidad had just filled up the ocean between Trinidad and Tobago and built a land bridge. Dubai did that 1,000 times over. Go and see the amount of land that Dubai built, and then come back and tell me why we can't build a bridge to Tobago. Stick a pin. That's another conversation. Go and just look at Palm Island. Palm Island is bigger than Tobago. They built that. That didn't exist. China built an island for the airport. China built an island for their garbage dump. Japan built an island for their garbage dump. You could do it. We could do it. We're just not willing to be progressive. We're just not willing to do things that empower our people. This is a country where we want the masses of our people subjugated, enslaved, laborer and consumer. But the country could fix, and it could fix quickly. But Dubai and Singapore make their money on shipping. In Singapore, more container traffic moves in 15 minutes than moves in Trinidad in 5 years. Understand this. They move more container traffic in 15 minutes than we move in 5 years. They understand port. They understand the movement of watercraft and marine vessels. If we brought Singapore expertise to the port of Port of Spain, our water taxis and our Tobago ferries will run on time like a bus. And everybody in the PNN and the UNC hierarchy knows this to be a fact. But they won't do it because shock doctrine allows the superfast glacier to charge 5 times the price that it was supposed to charge and share it up with UNC financiers. For Coleman Sinanan to bounce that up and say, nah, break that off for we. Fire the superfast glacier, bring in some shit, the 2-hand massage, the Cardo Star, the ocean floor, anything you're gonna find. Bring it, put that instead of the glacier so we could get our money. That's what that was about. That's all that was about. Government for theft. The UNC and the PNM are a band of thieves. That's all they are. The reason the country is the way it is because they don't come into government to govern. They come into government to feast. They're sucking the patient dry. You're not going to get the country that you want by allowing those people to suck your country dry. And you have to understand that. Because you can't plant orange and pick onion. What you plant, that's what you're going to reap. And what we continue to plant in this country by playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo with some incompetent jackasses. I mean, look at the parties. Look at what makes up their cabinets. A bunch of failures. Not one single minister of any political party or any government for the past 56 years have done anything of such substantial value as to make any condition of the people of this country perfect. we're hungry, we're starving, we're broken, we're killing one another, we're drug addicted, we're homeless, we can't afford to buy a home, we can't afford to feed our children, our education sector is pure bullshit, children fighting one another and beating one another, posting up videos calling it MMA in movie town, little girls beating up one another for their friends to see. That's what they're learning in school, while parents, because they have to hold on 2 and 3 jobs just to keep the lights on so the children can read whatever bullshit book the Ministry of Education corruptly get for them to read. So we end up with a health sector that is so broken, that is so disgusting. People prefer to not go there and try and live through the disease. And that is the legacy of the PNM and the UNC. Fuad Khan was the last Minister of Health. His little boy, Ravi Balgobin Maharaj, and him playing the ass with people. Fuad Khan is such an asshole. The man is such a functionless jackass that he has taken to dressing himself up as a Rasta man with shades and fake locks, making videos to entertain you. Because he has nothing of substance to say to you and can't defend the UNC's track record, because what they meet, they leave worse. And his replacement, Diansing. If a cockroach had fleas, Diansing would be the fleas on that flea's balls. That is a jackass of extraordinary caliber. And look at what you have to balance as ministers of health when you choose between the PNM and the UNC. Sit Gopi Singh and Garcia down and ask them to explain why 10% of our education sector works and the other 90% also ran. Ask them to explain. We spent $50 billion on education in the last 10 years. On what? $250,000 per child per term. On what? What did we get for it? And what do we continue to get for it as we continue to deficit finance the country? A broken nation, the only one in a recession, in a world of booming economies. What do we continue to get for this money? We spent $65 billion on healthcare. On what? Kamala can't say it's the Children's Kuva Hospital because we owe in China for that for the next 20 years. Billions of dollars more than it should have cost. We could have get 20 hospitals for what Kamala built Kuva for. And all of them need to be exposed. You need to see these hungry, thieving bandits for what they are. We need to see them in court. You need to take Keith Rowley, Bastio Pandey, exhume Manning, drag his coffin up the Hall of Justice steps, bring Kamala and her bandit clan, sit down in the court, account to the people of this country what you did with their money. What you did. Because that's where we are. Every murder that takes place, it is the government's fault, past and present. You cannot put 700,000 people into the kind of poverty that exists in this country and not force them to become criminals. We've created a gangster's paradise. We've put people into such squalor that they're willing to do anything for $1. And then you leave the borders open and 30,000 illegal guns coming in from Venezuela in exchange for corned beef and toilet paper. And then wanting to go in the people chamber meeting in London and tell them, stop saying Trinidad is a criminal nation or you're scaring the tourists away. We're supposed to be ringing the bell every single day on Facebook, telling people, don't come here. You're putting your life at risk. The government is lying to you. They're trying to fool you, to con you, to bring you into a place where they cannot guarantee your safety. And if that cannot happen, why aren't we telling the people the truth? Keith Rowley is now in London trying to fool the people of London that Trinidad is A-OK. Nothing in Trinidad is A-OK. People tell you, you talk to your friends and your family when they go overseas, and they will tell you, by the 3rd day, I exhale, I relax. By the 5th day, I stop looking over my shoulder. Into the 2nd week, I get a good night's sleep. And I don't realize that what's happening is the worries and concerns and fear of life in Trinidad falling off of me. But that is what they experience. Trinidad and Tobago, we've lost something. We've lost something. We cannot continue to live here hoping for an escape to elsewhere. We have to fix here. You are not going to fix here engaging in the lawlessness and the mismanagement and corruption of racist PNM and UNC. You're not. You're not. There are people behind those two parties who do not care about you. They do not care about your life or your condition. They only care about taking themselves to millionaire, to 100 millionaire, to billionaire, to getting shiny pointy shoes and fancy cars to drive downtown and interfere with little girls by area. This is the country that we've ended up with. This is the most blessed and beautiful land on planet Earth. Trinidad and Tobago, the center of all that should be. Everybody should want to come to Trinidad and Tobago, and who not from here should lie and say they are. But that's not what we have. We have a nation so badly broken, nothing works, and you don't know who to turn to. You don't know who to go to and say, I'm in trouble. You don't know. You can't report the bank. You can't report the police. You can't report your lawyer. You can't report the court. You can't report the minister. Who you're talking to. All of those things essential to your sanity and the upkeep of your life broken so badly beyond repair that if we don't undo them and redo them, to continue on with them as they are is to accept insanity as our reality. Is that what you want? True talk. Plain talk, because we have to decide. We up to our waist, if not up to our neck in shit. We live in a cesspool. You can't fight that. When this guy came down here in Trinidad, they just got their knickers in a twist because the man say he in a third world country and all they get vexed. What did you all get vexed for? That he exposed us? That he revealed a state secret? Everybody know. From the moment you land in Trinidad and Tobago, you know this is the only country where even the airport runway have potholes. This is Trinidad, where you step off the plane in $1 billion cow shed and stand up and wait for immigration for 5 hours. Trinidad. You want that to continue? Because I'll tell you something. I am the kind of person, you make me, you give us any kind of authority, we will undo and redo it. We will reboot the republic. Step 1 is to identify all the square pegs and round holes and fire them. Fire them. Because the commissioner of police and the chief immigration officer and the controller of customs have to explain. The head of the Coast Guard have to explain. Explain how we saw. Chief medical officer explain. Explain. Tell us. All the money that you get, what is done with it? How come this is what we get in return? Because it is like we don't seem to understand value for money. Cricks find themselves in trouble with the people in Trinidad and Tobago because people in Trinidad and Tobago trying to figure out, wait now, How is it possible that I could buy cricks overseas that make in Trinidad, ship there, warehouse there, ship to different locations by truck, merchandised on shelves, and $2 and $3 cheaper than Trinidad? How is that possible? Cricks put out her release because one of our members, Abigail Sinanan, she is one of the Florida team leaders, PEP members, put out a post and I shared it and it went viral. This is what Abigail put out. So I just realized I'm paying $1.67 for cricks at Walmart in South Florida. If I multiply that by $7, and I'm being generous with that exchange rate here, that's equal to $11.69 TT. Trinidad's in Trinidad paying $14.99 at Massey stores. Price Mart selling a 4-pack for $54. Supposedly you save when you buy in bulk. That's still $13.50 a pack. I'm still paying less in the US for a product made in Trinidad. What's wrong with this picture? Trinidad's getting it without lube and still quiet. Wake up, people. Cricks, with their mad self, decide to say that Abigail and I are liars. Cricks. I think I said for this. Cricks with their mad self put out a release. This is what they said. Did you know the suggested retail price SRP of cricks in the USA is US $2 or TT $13.56, which is actually higher than the SRP suggested retail price in Trinidad and Tobago. Ultimately, this is where cricks get themselves in trouble with me, because I don't mind if you're a jackass, but don't draw me into your jackassery, I'll call you out. Ultimately, the final selling price is entirely up to the retailers themselves. That makes so much sense. I want to agree. And they can choose to ignore our suggested retail price for various reasons. Now, I want to tell you this. I have been in marketing and communications my entire adult life. If Cricks has a suggested retail price for their product that they wanted to sell at, they would print it on the label. When you pick it up, you will see $2. Printed. They don't have it printed. You see how the Kiss bread have it printed? That is the suggested retail price, but they're playing with you. Hear what they say are the different reasons. They can lower product prices to attract customers, raise awareness of the product. Now, she's talking about Walmart, and little pissing tail Bermudez want you to believe that Walmart is interested in attracting new customers by reducing the price of cricks. The word spread all over America. Come to Walmart, cricks is cheap here. Bermudez, miss us with your bullshit. They can run specials, discounts to help move stock quickly. Now, major retailers, supermarkets, big grocery chains, and stores like Walmart in the US, Canada, and the rest of the civilized world understand they are in the real estate business. They're not in the grocery business, you know. They're in the real estate business. They understand the profit potential and value of every square inch of their shelf space in their store. They are managers for different departments. The confectionery and biscuit department has to account to the overall grocery for the performance of their shelf space in their stores. So when they take a brand from an unknown source like Cricks, they're not doing that to run specials. If they have to run a special and take a loss, they're taking of your blasted product in the future. Because if your shelf space is worth $1 profit per square inch per day, and in 2 days, nothing from their sell, you've lost $2. Never to get it back. And they're not fools. There are companies that go to sell you their product, and you are Walmart. And you say, if you give me a shelf space 4 feet by 2 feet, I will move X amount of product a month. They will work it out and say, so the profit I will make is $140,000 per shelf per month? Yes. Write me a check for the $140,000 profit, put your product on the shelf. So they're not taking the risk. So for Bermudans to think, to fool you, to tell you that Walmart have any interest whatsoever in buying cricks and then running special to sell cricks, miss us with that bullshit. They can set, this is the third thing, they can set a lower SRP, suggested retail price, to better compete with competitors in the category. Walmart is interested in buying Trinidad cricks and taking a loss so that they could compete with other biscuit. Like somehow Walmart in the cricks business. So I have to say this morning, in response to their release, not so fast cricks. In response to a viral post that persons outside of TNT worldwide can buy cricks cheaper than it is sold in TNT, the company put out a release that basically tried to claim that all of those places and persons outside of TNT who are selling cricks cheaper than it is sold in TNT are doing so either to engage the biscuit competition as a loss leader to attract persons to their establishment, or having sales on cricks to sell off moving stock. I ain't engaging you no more on that. Cricks, miss us with your bullshit. Suggesting that we boycott cricks. I am suggesting that we have a national conversation to identify the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. I said none of these answers make sense simply because this lower price is not limited to one store or even the brick and mortar stores, but in far too many locations and countries to make this a one-off, a sale, a special, or a sell-off. Companies the size of Walmart have access to far more attractive products to lure customers into their stores and would not be relying on novelty salt biscuits from a tiny Caribbean country to do so. The fact of the matter is this is not limited to cricks alone and deserving of an investigation on a national level, which we intend to launch. But first, we are compiling a price check of local products available outside of TNT and the normal retail prices available to consumers in those jurisdictions and comparing them to the normal prices that are paid for them in this country. We will also be researching the ex-factory price to determine both locally and abroad what local companies and their distributors are charging retailers, and will be comparing the markups local retailers apply to goods compared to their foreign counterparts to determine who, if anyone, is gouging the local market if that is what is taking place, and will be in a better position to say what the problem might be. But to pretend that this is a one-off situation or a sale or some other reason other than local products are cheaper when bought outside of Trinidad and Tobago is to be flippant with a greater issue that goes to the price our people are paying to live here and why that might be so. And that is unacceptable. Our currency is weak compared to international currencies and our spending power ridiculous, so it is understandable and accepted with a pinch of salt for the time being. Why imported products would be more expensive to our people. But to pretend that market forces alone are at work here is simple spin doctrine designed to make the issue go away. And I can assure everyone following this issue that it won't be allowed to. Our consumers deserve protection. There is a Consumer Affairs Division that falls under the Ministry of Legal Affairs or the Ministry of the Attorney General. And their job, their responsibility is to make sure that all of the people in the country are being protected against unscrupulous business practices and gouging. It is not being attended to.
If it is that who you're voting, ready or not out, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the proven to be your equal amount,
promising you roads and giving up votes.
If they are the reason why the economy won't sprout,
When you're voting,
vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the passing laws
that them alone can flout.
when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out.
If it is the building and source, east, west, north and south, just as how you vote them in,
Vote them out.
register and vote them out.
Totally
Vote them out.
take no finger and
Vote them out.
rescue the country. Vote them out. Vote them out with tempo. They happy in pain.
Let's put our country together again.
Vote them out with calypso and joy every breath. Let's put our country together again. If their policy is
A fallacy,
their bureaucracy,
a catastrophe,
if they cannot vote,
and you see it so, then your only hope is for them to vote.
if it is fabrication, these statements
That is spout. When you're voting,
vote them out. Vote them out. If it is a frustration,
just make you want to shout.
when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. Before they misuse us,
Thief out, sell out, and digs out. If it's you that vote them in,
vote them out.
register and vote them out.
All of them,
Vote them out.
take no finger and vote them out. Them unresistant,
Vote them out.
vote them out in Scarborough and in Borders Bay. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out in Komuto.
And in Laramie, let's put our country.
Together again.
Fed up of corruption, deplorable foods, high food prices, out of control crime, mismanagement, piss poor healthcare, substandard education, want a better nation? Join us for a conversation this Saturday coming, 21st of April from 2 p.m. at the JRD Convention Center, 34 St. Croix Road, Princestown. For the people of South and environs, this is for you. Central, South, Deep South, we in Princestown at the JRD Convention Center this coming Saturday at 2 o'clock, the entire PEP team. Those who would like to caravan or carpool with us, we meet at the office, 19 Stanmore Avenue, this is us from town, at 10 o'clock. So if you would like to move with us, carpool, join the caravan, 10 o'clock Stanmore Avenue, we're there at 19 Stanmore Avenue, and we're out of there by 11. We want to be in Princestown before 12, so I guess we're out of there by about 10:30. Because we need to be in Princestown, our management meeting starts at noon, and the public meeting starts at 2. So come out in your numbers, all are invited. It's an open mic and an open conversation. There is a lot to hear, and a lot to learn, a lot to know, and come and have your say. peptrinbago@gmail.com is our primary email address. Send us any messages if you're interested in getting involved, coming on board, helping, send it there. peptt.com is our website, peptt.com. Pep app, PEP, 2 words, Pep app. That's our app, and it's available free. Download it on all of the app stores. 347-4PEP. That's our hotline if you need to call to find anything else. If you forget all of that, none of those things work, and you could find me, message me, email me, and I will make sure that it gets to the right person. But let me be the last resort, not the first, because I am literally swamped by messages, and I am until I get some kind of assistant. Speaking of which, we are looking for volunteers to come on board and help us. If you would like to be a part of the Progressive Empowerment Party team, the door is wide open and we're waiting to welcome you on board. If you would like to be on the ground in your constituency, helping to build out the constituency executive on the ground in your constituency to prepare for elections, then contact Shari Wilson. She is the party organizer in charge of mobilization and constituency build out, or you can message me and I will get the message to her. Dilwood Braffett is another person that you can message as well. He handles the integration of new members who would like to be involved in that. We have something called the Advisory Council, and the Advisory Council is involved in drafting PEP policy and getting us ready to run this country. And if you are an expert or you have expertise or skill sets in any of the issues that you know that are critical to the operation of a country and you'd like to get involved, reach out to myself, Dilwood Braffett, Kenneth Luke. Kenneth Luke is the chair of the Advisory Council. If you are based overseas, anywhere on planet Earth outside of Trinidad and Tobago, and you would like to know more or get involved in the Progressive Empowerment Party, the head of our overseas chapters is Ali G, and she also runs the New York City chapter. We have a Florida chapter and Toronto chapter. The Toronto chapter is having a massive dinner and dance on the 12th of May. I think it's pretty much sold out, and I am supposed to be there. So, we're working on that. What else do I have to tell you? This Saturday at 2 o'clock, this is our regular Saturday meeting at noon that we have in Stanmore Avenue. You all tell us, bring it to you all, make life easier. We come in Princestown. I am hoping to see that JRD Convention Center packed with people because we're bringing the PEP show to you. So do your part and bring your friends and your family and come out and get ready. You can register, you can buy PEP memorabilia. We will be bringing the PEP membership cards. The people who are based in South, come out and get your cards. You get your PEP membership cards embossed right there. You can buy the new t-shirt designs. I think Sati Shamsaran is the person in charge of merchandise. You can reach out to him because we're supposed to have the brand new PEP t-shirts that you all voted on. That will be there as well. I will be there. And we will all be there to engage you and talk and to get us ready in every material way possible to becoming the better nation that we all want us to be. Trinidad and Tobago, we cannot escape responsibility for the condition of this democracy by allowing these charlatans, these miscreants to destroy our country. The truth of the matter is, there is much hope still. There is a lot going for this country, not limited to its people. And it is time we stand together as one people under one flag and give ourselves a better country. Do it for your future self. Do it for your children and your children's children. Do it for the legacy of a nation badly in need of a rescue. Let's stand together, one people under one flag. Tuesday nights, there is a show called The 411, and Anthony Defoe, the director of PEP Media, is in charge of that. On Thursday nights, the show we have is called Frontline. It is hosted by PEP PRO Janice Leamon-Criqui and party chairman Felicia Holder. This Thursday night, they're talking about food production, food self-sufficiency and farming, and how important it is in this world. And if you are involved in farming, if you would like to get involved in farming, if you're in food production in any way, you'd like to contribute to the show, or you'd like to be on the show, reach out to either Janice Leamon-Criqui or Felicia Holder, or message Dilwood or me. Yeah, I think that's it. What is of critical importance is Saturday's meeting, because all our other on-the-road meetings will be dictated by the turnout we get there, because we get a massive turnout every Saturday in Stanmore Avenue, and we need to get bigger than that in Princestown to justify moving this whole machinery on the road. This is your party. The Progressive Empowerment Party is the Orange Army, it's the Orange family, the Orange Revolution. It was created for you and for every single citizen of this great republic, whether they are here or forced to leave and go and live in a next man land, waiting for us to rescue the country. Because our greatest hope, our best dream, is that we undo and redo and reboot this republic and rebuild it to something so incredible that all of our people who left will come back home. That is our goal, that is our drive, that is our desire. If you want to be a part of that, if you want to help us financially, we need every single dollar we could get. We run this party on volunteer money. We do not have deep pocket financiers. We don't want deep pocket financiers, but there is a cost to running a political party. We do all these shows, we do all of this, and the only way to get it done is with your help, and we ask for whatever you could donate. Reach out to Satish, reach out to Felicia. If you're overseas, reach out to Ali G, reach out to Dilworth. Come together, let us rescue our nation. Until I see you again, stay safe, Trinidad.